Hey, welcome to Expat Rebel. This is Expat Rebel Chris here, and today's episode is about gardening in the tropics here in Yucatan, Mexico. It's hot here, and it's starting to get cool just as we start to go into fall. Not really; it's still getting up at 30 Celsius. But we had some plants delivered yesterday, and our gardener came in and did a bunch of moving around. So I'm going to show you what happened. So these plants we purchased from a local person, which we'd done before, and they bring it in and we're going to place it where we like it. We haven't done that yet, but three of these are these desert roses. These are actually kind of pricey. All this costs a little over $40, probably the most we've ever spent on plants because of the roses. And a couple of these, I don't even know what they are, but this is roses as well. And so we're going to plant them over here. So over here, it gets a lot of light. We're still in the morning right now, so it's just starting to come in. And these plants we just stuck in. So the palm was somewhere else, wasn't really getting enough sun, so we moved it here. These were some new plants that we got on the last round of new plants. It's nice. These people just delivered the plants right to our front door. And so these were just placed where we think we're going to like them. Some of them have been planted, some haven't. Now, we did discover around in this area, and I think around over here, there's a concrete like a foot underneath the sand. The previous owner obviously had something to do with that. So we're trying to figure out if we can lift it out or would you have to work around it. But this is going to be a very sunny area in the afternoon. And so we got to be careful what plants we stick here because otherwise they will burn big time and everything. Now, this nice, beautiful flowering plant here was not getting enough sunlight over by the pool. So we had it put here. It's not too much either because it's got flowers and it needs definitely more sun, but not too much. Now, the bougainvilleas here are actually doing pretty well. We have one over in the corner by the front that we're going to have right there that we're going to have go over. Eventually, we're going to add a couple more so that people from the roads over there, will be able to see our flowering plants right there. That's what's going on over there. We're still working on it. These we think are going to stay here. They've been here a while and they can't handle the wind too well. So you need these to be a little bit protected. And that's because we're right on the ocean. That's the Gulf of Mexico. And so we have to be a little bit careful. This palm wasn't doing well where it was previously, so we moved it over here. It needed some more sun. Now, over here in the pool area, it gets a lot of shade year round. It's quite shady. So we have certain plants, like this guy here is really doing well. It's just almost overgrowing this pot. We've actually transplanted a couple of plants from here. And this one, it's gotten a little bit fuller. And this palm is actually doing well. It's got new growth here going on that's coming out. So it's a little bit protected. That's where the Gulf of Mexico is. And it usually comes in from the east, the wind. And so this area over here is protected. That's one reason we stuck the hot tub right there. Now, the island on the pool and this other area with the bar area, there are two chairs underneath the water there, are doing really well. So the plants that we stuck in there, our gardener put in there and whatnot, have really matured in maybe 3 months. And the golden pothos are starting to go up the palm tree, which is the plan. We actually have a little string right there to make that happen. And over there, now this one's been doing better and everything. So they can handle wind. And as they start climbing, the leaves get bigger and the stem gets bigger. And it likes to wrap itself around something. So we may actually tie this here so we can get it to go around and up the trunk of our palm trees. Those are coconuts. So we do have coconuts that fall down into the pool and all around, which can be a little bit messy. Now, this is a new one we got. I'm not sure the name of it, but we stuck it here because it's actually a little bit protected by the pool house. So the wind right now is coming at like this angle, and it's a little breezy, actually, right this second. And we usually hang out there. It's not too windy. It's very nice. And we go swimming in the Gulf and everything. So it's pretty good. But this pool house, this is the pool house right here. It has the pool pond in there and our supplies. It protects this area. So we thought this plant, which is pretty hardy actually, would do well. Now, this one was getting too much wind. It was over there, right there actually. And when it starts to turn fall, the wind shifts a bit to be a little bit more north and coming straight at us. And it was getting a little beat up. We thought it would be okay here. We left it in its really great pot, and we'll see. We may need to move this guy, but other than that, it's been doing really well. Actually, when it came to us, it was a little beat up. These leaves were a little beat up when we bought it, so it's not really what's happened since we got it. As you can see, it's flowering, and this flower is turning into a bunch of new growth. Beautiful plant, and we're hoping it does well over here. Otherwise, we're going to have to move it again. Now, these golden pothos, we, of course, again, have it stringed up. Want it to grow up the palm tree. That's the plan. That's what we did. The ferns have done pretty well. This one is new. We just bought it. Looks a little droopy. Not sure what's going on there yet. We'll definitely probably have to water it some more. We water this area all the same, but it's been here a while, doing well. These, at first, when they first transplanted, as you can see, some of it died and then some of it sprang back. Little spider plant's really doing well. This guy's doing well. I got another fern. One of these ferns, probably this one, actually almost died because it was in a pot that didn't have drainage and it got waterlogged, got watered too much. And so we took it out. We had it planted finally here. Had to buy a bunch of dirt, which also was locally delivered, and our gardener stuck it in. And so it's looking good. This is a little pool water from the city. We could turn on it and it feeds into the pool. Right now, the pool filter is running, and that's why we got that. It's cleaning the water right now. And of course, we always have our flamingo floating in it. We loved the design of the pool where you can walk down here into it. That is the deep end. This is very shallow here, actually. We actually stick lounge chairs here and to read and everything. It's actually quite fun and all that. So these are some other plants we recently put in, and they're doing pretty well. One of the things we liked, I love golden pothos. It's my favorite plant, have been for decades. And of course, here they're natural. They do really well. And we have them hanging down. So that's the whole point. There's a bunch of them up there, is to hang down and eventually this will be like almost like a carpet. And we may actually do the top core as well. I don't really have any plants up there yet. None, actually. Now, some of my favorite plant that's been doing really is this Monstera. It's just probably one of my favorite plants. I have two of them, and they don't like a lot of wind, so we have them a little bit protected. This one's behind a post, and this one's a little bit off to the side. This is the steam room. Yeah, I do have a steam room in the tropics, and there's this little deck. Now, these two plants were not doing well because they were getting too much wind. So we have it back here in the bar area, and I'm hoping they're getting enough sunlight and not any wind. It's very protected back here, so it's probably doing well. We do have 3 bug zappers. There's one, and we got one back here as well, where insects like to go get away from the winds. And we have one over here, protect our seating area. It was our seating area with our view, the pool, and the Gulf of Mexico right there. So one of the plants that did not make it, I'm not even sure you could tell what it is at this point, is this one. They were pink, and they did well. They were standing up for a little while and then started drooping. No matter if I watered them, didn't water them enough, they will not. I just don't think they can handle this environment. This does get wind, especially in the afternoon. It usually comes from this angle in the northeast. So this side is more protected, but sometimes it can get us head on. And actually, a few days ago, it was coming from the northwest. So it was, that side was getting it more. Not as strong when it comes out in the northwest. So you got to really know your area and move some of these plants around and find out what works. Unfortunately, this guy did not work no matter where we stuck them at. This beautiful plant, but it didn't work at all. So we're having probably replace it and whatnot. So we just got these new plants in, and these are doing well. We're going to place these plants in a few days when our gardener comes back. She's in charge of that. I get the water in between when she's here. And then when she comes over, we talk to her about where we think we should move things. She's very good about that. She, of course, has lived here her entire life, I think. And she knows what plants can handle how much sun and how much wind. Since we are on the beach, wind is a factor. Not everywhere is protected. We do need to think about that. Some of these palms here, this one, which is recovering, you can see it's got some brown leaves and whatnot, was closer to the ocean around the pool, and it just wasn't getting enough sun, and it was probably getting, for its size, a little bit too much wind. The palm trees, they can handle wind like crazy. They're really good for it. They're designed for that because they live on the beach a lot. But this one was a little bit too small and it was a little bit too much. So we stuck it here. It's getting enough sun and we think it's going to do well here. But that's the plan. And that's the gardening in Yucatan, Mexico, here in the tropics. I would suggest you use a gardener, a local gardener, to handle a lot of it. A lot of it's a little bit of hard work as well. And it's good to have some help with that. But the knowledge of where to stick things is really important. And we keep them in pots for a while until we figure that out. Once we know that we think it's going to do well in a spot, we'll put it in the ground. So we've had a lot of dirt delivered things, but these new ones, we're going to figure out where we want to put them, or we're going to just leave them in a pot. Make sure they're watered and everything, which I'm going to do in a minute. And see how well they do. We've actually had some plants that got too much sun almost immediately, like less than half a day, and just die. The sun here is a little intense. We're much farther than the rest of the US or Canada, which I know most of you guys are from. And if you're here in Mexico, you may be in an environment where it's up in the mountains and it's pretty mild. Here, it can get a little intense. The weather, not so really hot where we live on the beach, so it's not too bad, but it can get hot. We do use air conditioning. Mostly it's the sun, intensity of the sun, and sometimes the lack of rain. It can go months without it raining, so you got to make sure you water some things every day and some other things every 2 or 3 days. Make sure it's okay. This bougainvillea is just doing really great. I only water it like every three days or whatnot. But this branch was new since we got it, and we're going to coach it up to go over the wall. And we'll probably get it, but probably 2 more. And over some time, it'll go over and be really beautiful. It's doing really well. And this new branch was really interesting, even up to our electrical box. We just have it laid right on here, which I find funny. But it's going to look great. That's what this corner is dedicated for, is for the bougainvillea to go up over. This area is really just our storage of some extra materials that we have right now. We're not really developing this because the septic system is right there. And so every few months, I think maybe once a year, a big truck has to come out and pump it out. And they have to dig the dirt up. So we need to leave this as is. And this, we just have supplies and everything. And when we have guests over, we don't have a car, but we do have guests over. They park their car right there, right here. Actually, get it off the street if they spend a night, that type of thing. So that's it from here in Yucatan, Mexico. Thank you for joining me. If you're interested in more like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's Expat Rebel. If you got any questions about gardening or being an expat, leave it in the comments. I'll answer you. And if you're interested in a weekly newsletter, it's over at expatrebel.com. See you guys next time. Bye.